after doing this for over 16 years, I've definitely seen some things. And today I'll reveal the top 10 mistakes that I see people typically make when they purchase new construction home. And at the end, I'll be discussing the biggest mistake that I made that cost me thousands of dollars in purchasing a brand new home. Okay, so coming in at number 10, I'd say not planning for delays. I typically let my clients know that you want to add an additional like 45 days to whatever time frame the builder gives you for your new construction, simply because there are just so many like delays that can happen, especially if you're entering into the winter time. So definitely plan for that. If you have heavy winters, you want to add 45, maybe 60, maybe 90 days. And obviously even in the summer and the spring, there's definitely some things to look out for. We've had delays because of the gas company, of permits. And also, one of the biggest delays is if you're putting in an offer on a new construction when there's another project being built, and your section won't be built until that section is finished being built. So if there are delays with that section, it adds to your delays. So I always say whatever the builder gives you as a time frame for closing on your new construction, add anywhere between 45 to 90 days depending on the circumstance. And when I say add, make sure it's a mental addition. Like don't assume that the builder just adding it on is okay. Like it's a mental addition so that you are prepared. You're not having your moving trucks ready by the date that the builder sets, a year in advance. Like just know, like mentally, this could be an additional 45 to 90 days. So it lessens any frustration if or when you find out about the delays. For number 9, I'd say assuming everything is included. That model is not your home. Most of the things in that model will probably not be in your home unless it's a builder that has a model that really looks like the actual home, and most builders don't. So you want to come in asking, hey, what in this model is included in my home and what isn't? Ask for a price list and get a really good understanding, because that fireplace that you are loving in that model home may not be included. It may be an additional, $10,000 or $15,000 addition. The finished basement that you are falling in love with in that model home may be an additional $25,000, $40,000 addition. So you want to be able to ask, hey, what's included, what's not? Can I get a price list? So you have a really good understanding. Also, one key thing, you could also just ask if they're currently building out homes now and you're in love with a model, ask to see one of the homes that they're currently building, so you get a good idea of what's not the model. So you get to see like the plain home with just the paint and the current blank slate of it. So feel free to ask to see a home that's currently being built. Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no, but it doesn't hurt to ask so you can kind of see the home without all the thrills and frills. In addition to that, also be mindful that the little things may not be included. I have seen new construction where handles on cabinets were not included and were an additional $15 per handle. The walkout to the basement isn't included, and that's really important to you. So make sure you say it and you don't assume that it's included. So think about the little things that you see, and if there's something that's really important to you, make sure you ask, hey, is this included? Like, don't get tired of asking, is this included? It's going to be really important. Coming in at number 8 is ignoring future developments. So you want to be able to, one of the things I do love about new constructions is that you walk in and they pretty much know, hey, what is happening in that community. And so you're able to see, okay, how far is some of the big things and the businesses, how far are they going to be from my home? Is there going to be a lot of traffic? All of those things you really want to consider when purchasing in that community. If it's a smaller builder and they don't know about development, you can always look at the city planning sites and see, okay, is that big forest in the back of the house, is that going to be developed into something in the future? So if the builder doesn't have plans and they're, a small builder, you want to go to the to the city website and see, okay, are there future plans, especially if you see like a large forestation area in your backyard. Is that protected area, or is this going to be some type of shopping center in the future, if those things matter to you? For number 7, I'd say not pricing out major upgrades. So for instance, the deck or the finished basement may be cheaper with getting it done outside of closing versus with the builder. So you may just want to ask questions about the price of certain things and just shop around and see, okay, is it cheaper to get this done after closing, or is it better to get it done with the builder? Now, if you are like, I just want my stuff done, I want to be able to move in, great. But if you do that, but if you have time to shop around before you make a decision on some major things like the deck, the basement, things like that, feel free to shop around and see if you can save an additional $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Number 6 would be the lender. So a lot of times I've seen new constructions offer some very generous packages for using their lender. They want to keep everything in house. They want to know what's going on. So they'll, give, for example, $25,000 towards your closing costs for using their lender, or they'll give, $10,000 towards upgrades or things like that for using their lender. And their lender they could have one lender, or they could be partnered up with 5 different lenders for you to pick from. And I think it's just always best to plan ahead and come pre-approved, so wait, do I even qualify for this new construction? And then also see what deals another lender has. So let the lender know, like, hey, I'm specifically looking for new construction. Do you have any packages or anything that you can offer that's competitive? And you will be surprised. I have seen some instances where clients have gone with their own lender versus the builder's lender in the builder's deal because their own lender was offering something way better than the builder's lender. Things like, an interest rate lock for over a year at no cost to the client. That is something that's, a lot of builder lenders are not, like, I haven't seen too many of them offer, or I have seen them offer in the past, but not now. So you may want to just, have some, see like, okay, if there's a lender outside of the builder's lender that's offering something more competitive. So shopping around for lenders is still a thing when working with new construction. You want to be able to see, okay, who is offering me the best? You're going to have this mortgage for, close to 30 years or at least 10 years, or, that's when the average, people are keeping their properties for. So you want to make sure that you're getting the very best, and you're not so focused on, okay, they're giving me $10,000. So, let me just take this lender. Maybe you get $10,000, maybe you get a higher interest rate because you got the $10,000. You don't know unless you're talking with other lenders and just shopping around to see, okay, am I getting the very best with this builder's lender? So that is really important. Number 5 is neglecting to negotiate. Negotiation in its simplest form is just simply asking a question. It doesn't hurt to ask, and someone can come back and say no. I have asked for things that the sales rep has said, my builder or my developer will definitely say no to this, and they have come back and either said yes, or they've come back and with a different thing or a different amount to appease the client. And so if there are things that you want, let's say there's a lower price, a washer and dryer, just different things. If there are things that you want in the home, even if the builder comes back and says no to everything, still ask and see if they'll say yes to something. And ask some of the best deals that I've gotten thousands of dollars off a home. I've gotten blinds put in homes. I've gotten washers and dryers for my clients. I've gotten, so many different things just literally from asking a question. And I've gotten shot down multiple times where, builders have just said no to everything, but at least I asked for my client. So don't neglect to negotiate. Number 4, I would say not reading the contract carefully. Now, remember that every builder has their own contract, has their own attorneys writing the contract. It's not the standard contract that a realtor would use for their state or for their region, right? So it's not a contract that anyone else outside of that builder is typically familiar with. And contracts change all the time. So even if I've worked with a builder, 3 months ago, I would still reread the contract 3 months later if I'm working with a new client that works with the builder, just because if it changes, I want to be on top of it. I don't get notified if their contract changes. And here's the thing with contracts today. Before 2020, typically when I worked with a builder and I was working with a client and they wanted to buy new construction, the builder would typically, we would all sit together and review the contracts together. That is what typically happened. That's what I typically saw when working with a builder before 2020. And after 2020, Zoom became really popular. DocuSign, just sending things out for signature, became really popular. And what I saw was a lot of builders just sending things out and just saying, sign this, like sign the contract. And what I've started to do is just demand that the builder go over the contract. Like, I don't care that I'm a realtor. It doesn't matter. I want you to go over the contract. And mind you, I will read the contract ahead of time. I'll print it out, read it, highlight some things that I have questions about. And every builder chooses to do it different ways. Sometimes we'll meet in person, and a lot of times we'll do it over Zoom. But we go over the contract with the client. There's some key things that we're looking for in the contract, and I'll go over those key things in another video. But I want them to go over each section of the contract with their clients. I've gotten in toe-to-toe matches with new construction sales reps who are just like, sorry, that paragraph, what you thought it meant, it didn't mean that. We actually meant this, right? And so I just prefer that when we're dealing with a builder contract, and yes, I know it could be 40, 50, 60 pages, but you're going to be in the contract sometimes for a month and sometimes for over a year. Like, you want to know what you're signing. You want to know certain things about that contract. You want to know how you're protected. So, take the time to read the contract and work with the salesperson. If you have a realtor, work with your realtor and the salesperson to go over the contract with you. Again, their attorneys wrote the contract. They should have a good understanding of what they're asking you to sign. So they go over the contract, highlight the things that you have questions about, and review the contract, the entire contract, with the sales rep. That's what I recommend. So coming in at number 3, we have inspections. This is something that a lot of clients ask me about. Should I get a home inspection for a new construction? And the answer I say is always yes. So we already know that there are going to be state inspections, county inspections. The builder may have their own inspectors come in. They may have their own third-party inspectors come in. They may provide it to the client. I still always recommend to get a home inspection. It is your own private inspection where you have someone specifically working for you on your behalf, looking at that property. Now, here's the thing. I know that inspections cost money. You are already paying, a lot of money out of pocket and at closing to purchase this home. So shelling out more money is just not, it's not comforting to you. However, I've seen some things. So I always recommend to get an inspection. I will say majority of the time when a client gets an inspection for a new construction, it is a lot of small things. It's not huge, and then the builder fixes it for the most part, and you're all good. But there have been enough times where I've seen major things come up in a home inspection where the client was absolutely thrilled that they got the inspection because it saved them time. Even if it was covered by warranty, taking the time to call a warranty company, and especially if it was something like, for example, I had a client who we did a home inspection and there was some malfunction with the hot water heater. Hot water heater worked, but there was water in a panel or a certain section of the water heater that there shouldn't have been. And I thought, okay, well, the builder's just gonna fix it somehow. It's just a brand new hot water heater. The builder had to replace the entire thing. I've seen things where there were water leaks, and if the home inspector hadn't been going out with a moisture reader, it would never have gotten detected. I've seen electrical issues, things that, again, would have caused major issues later on. Even if a warranty covered it, you want to make sure that if it can be resolved before closing, that it's resolved before closing. And you may not notice whatever the issue is until after the warranty has expired. You want to just make sure that you have that peace of mind it's taken care of before you close. There's 3 different types of inspections that you can get. The 2 primary ones are the pre-drywall inspection and the after drywall inspection. A majority of the clients that I see will typically get the after drywall, and I have some clients who get both, and then I have some clients who get all 3. So typically a lot of builders will have some type of they'll come in and fix some things within 8 months to a year after the home is built. And so sometimes my clients will call out the home inspector and say, hey, do another inspection on the home. And we want to give that punch list of things that popped up that we may not have noticed to the builder to fix. So that's a 3rd type of inspection that I see. I will say that I have never had a client come back and say, man, that was just a waste of money. I wish I'd never gotten a home inspection. I have seen people definitely come back and say, I really wish I would have gotten a home inspection, because after they move in, after they get settled, they see things that could have been seen by the home inspector that is now something that they have to take care of. So I've seen that with clients that have chosen not to get a home inspection, and I've seen that with other people that I know that had chosen not to get a home inspection on a new construction, where they call out something and I'm just like, you chose to save a few $100 and look what happened. So definitely just be on the safe side. Get your own personal inspection. Put that part of your budget when purchasing a home. Put a home inspection in there. If not one, then if not all 3, then at least 2 or 1, just for that peace of mind. Now, also, I'm not saying that home inspections are perfect, that they'll catch absolutely everything, but it's just that extra little thing that you have. Number 2 would be take some time to do some research on the builder. You want to look at customer reviews, past projects, just to really see, like, what is the reputation of this builder in this community, in this area, outside of this area? What should I be mindful of? What should I be concerned about? What questions should I have for this builder when I come in? So you can even see, like, has this builder gotten better over the years? Have they gotten worse? So you just know who you're working with, especially because remember that in most new constructions, unless the homes are already built or they're building right away, you may be waiting anywhere from a few months to over a year for this home. So you want to kind of know, who am I going into business with, right? And so just do a little bit of digging around, ask your realtor like their experience with the builder, what they're used to, but then also do a little bit of digging. Okay. The number 1 mistake that I typically see a lot of people make when walking into a new home construction community is not deciding ahead of time whether or not that they want their own personal representation, whether that be from a realtor or whether that be from an attorney. When you walk into the new home construction community and you sign in, a lot of times you're saying, hey, I'm here on my own, and you're also saying that you found that community on your own. And so if you choose to bring in some type of designation afterwards, whether it's a realtor or whether it's an attorney, a lot of times you will have to pay for that representation on your own. That's something that a lot of builders are doing. So you want to just kind of keep that in mind. And you may say, well, it's not a big deal. I'm going to choose to represent myself. I know this ahead of time. And remember that this is a really long process, right? It can take 3 months, it can take over a year. What I find is that sometimes you forget that when you walk into the community, that the sales rep and the people that you meet that work for the builder represent the best interest for the builder. They do not represent your best interest because they are not employed by you, right? And so you want to just be mindful do I want someone to walk me through the steps ahead of time? If you do, then plan for it. Interview realtors ahead of time before you go into that new construction community. I have had clients where, they've walked into the new construction community and they realize, I really like the home, but I don't necessarily love the service. And they then change their mind. They thought that they were going to be representing themselves. They thought that they were, they had all I's dotted and all T's crossed. And they're just like, I don't know. I'm a little bit over my head. I don't know, whether I really, trust this process. And so you just want to be mindful ahead of the time, like, hey, do I want my own fiduciary? Do I want someone representing my best interest? Before I walk into this new construction community, it is 100% up to you whether you choose to or not, but think about it ahead of time before you go in. Like, that is the biggest thing. Think about it ahead of time and make that decision wisely, because remember, this is a really long process. A lot of things can happen between, when you first walk in to the time of closing. Do you want representation? Do you want a realtor representation, or do you want an attorney representation? Think about that ahead of time. So I promised you my story. So my first home that I was looking to purchase was a new construction community. I was living in New York and I was young. I was in college, and the market was crashing, and I didn't know, like, I wasn't a realtor at the time. And, I just gotten a job, and I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to buy a home. And it was a beautiful loft condo in Brooklyn, New York. And I chose not to have a realtor because I didn't know any better. And I was talking with a sales rep, and, then life changed. The market was crashing, things were happening. I just could not move forward with the purchase. My mortgage was all over the place because things were just so rapidly changing in the mortgage industry at the time. So it was just incredibly just high highs and low lows. Some days they're like, your mortgage is approved. And then the other day it's just like, actually, no, things have changed. And so it was just awful. So I couldn't get financing for the condo because so many things had changed. This was like 2007. So like when things were gradually declining, and I had quite a bit of money down. And in order to get that money back, because I was in a contract, I had to call an attorney, and the attorney was able to get me some of that money back. However, it was some interesting thing where he was just like, hey, whatever I get you back, we split it 50-50. Like, that's my fee. And I was just like, that's weird. So I lost thousands of dollars when I purchased my first home. Well, actually, I didn't even purchase the home. I lost thousands of dollars with my first new construction contract. It was just horrible. It was horrible. And the whole experience was just so horrible. It was so bad because I was in my first lender. My first lender was just an interesting process. Definitely not how lending was supposed to be done. So if you've heard like horror stories of people walking in to get a loan and have heard some of the things that were said back then in the 2006, 2007 era, I got to experience some of that. And there is something so devastating about walking in and putting all your faith and all your trust in a professional because you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, you're trusting someone to have your back because this is what they do. And yeah, you're trusting someone to have your back because this is what they do. And instead of having your back, they're just trying to get the job done, right? And so it doesn't matter the position that they put you in. All that matters is that the job is done, right? It just, they're just working at a pace that is their own, and it's a big part. I'll tell the story later, the full story later of my lending experience back then, but it was definitely a big part of what what helped me in becoming a realtor, what I wanted to make sure I don't see. There are certain things I push really hard on when I'm working with my clients, and lending is a big part of it, just because it was just really bad back then. It was when the market, it was, there was, just a lot of predatory lending, and I got to experience some of that. And unfortunately. And so again, working with new construction, that was my first new construction experience, and it was just not best. And I wish I would have chosen to have had help back then, from the beginning. Brought in someone I trusted, used one of their trusted lenders, worked with them to see, what was best for me, planned it out ahead of time, versus just running straight with my emotion, to be at a better position. Now, I look back and I am very grateful that I did not buy that home, because I had no idea I would have lost my job. I had no idea I would be moving back to Maryland and 2 years after or a year after. Had no idea. So I'm very, very grateful looking back now. And it was at that time just a very devastating experience for me. Not only did I not get the house, but I lost thousands of dollars. So that was my experience. So hopefully this video and my testimony was helpful to you guys. And, please feel free to comment if you have other mistakes that you can think of, or just, any advice that you want to give people buying new construction. And, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I have plenty more coming up in the future.